Hello everyone, Ari here. Welcome back. We do have a live chat right now. Thank you so much for clicking and for tuning in. Today we're going to have a very, very interesting conversation with a young African American man who recently got his Sierra Leone citizenship. So I'm going to allow just 3 minutes for everyone to join, and after 3 minutes, I'm going to add him to the chat and we start the conversation. And when you join the stream, I make sure you do give it a thumbs up. I make sure you do comment and let me know who is here because I would like to know. And then we shall start the conversation immediately. We don't want to waste any time. We want this to be really quick, straight to the point, not dragging around. So recently, I came across a story actually of about 22 African Americans who received their Sierra Leone citizenship. And I did do that story for the African Diaspora channel and shared it with them. So I happened to get in touch with one of the individuals who got his citizenship, and it happened so quickly, just in a little amount of time. So he's going to tell us what he did. So I'm excited for this conversation. So when you join the stream, I make sure you do give it a thumbs up and let me know who is here, and also let me know where you're joining from, and then we shall start the conversation immediately. Yeah, so if you join the stream, I make sure you give it a thumbs up and drop a comment as well. And at 3 minutes, we shall start the conversation immediately, no wasting any time. So the gentleman is called Maada, but he's going to introduce himself and tell us all the juicy details that you guys would like to know about, coming to Africa and getting citizenship and how he did get his, so you could be the next one to get yours in a short amount of time. So I'll still allow like a minute and 10 seconds and then we begin the conversation. When you join the chat, let me know where you're tuning in from and give it a thumbs up. Hi, Nigel, how are you? Of course, as usual, thank you so much for joining the stream. How is the US? How are you doing? How is everything? How is your evening? Oh man, you're still about that dowry. Okay, I thank you so much for joining. I do appreciate you being here on time. We do have an interesting conversation today. So we are going to start in like about 30 seconds. At 3 minutes sharp, we are beginning the conversation. I'm going to add my guest to the screen and we shall begin the discussion. So let me allow time for a few more people to join. We are almost beginning. Icy and cold in the US. Ooh, okay. You guys are freezing. I can imagine it's winter. It's still winter. I'm assuming, unless you're in the sunny states like California. If you join the stream, I give it a thumbs up. I let you know where you're joining from. I drop a comment or two. We have an interesting guest. So I'm going to add him right now because it's 3 minutes already and we're going to begin a stream. Hello.
Hello. How
How are
you?
you?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well. Thank you for having me on this platform. And
Yes, thank you so
I,
much for
yeah,
joining today.
thank. I really appreciate your platform and everything that you're doing to connect African Americans and African in the diaspora with Africans on the continent. So what you're doing is very important. So I really appreciate
My
what it.
pleasure, my pleasure. So I'm glad to have you here today, and I would like this conversation not to be so long. So I would like you to start by introducing yourself to the viewers, and then we can begin. You tell us who you are. I like the Africa vibe going on, the shirt and the map in the background. I'm here for it.
Yeah, yes. We have to keep with the African vibes. So, my name is, well, I'll start off first with my Mende name. So, my Mende name is Mara Mambu Jambai. So, that's the name that I was actually given in the village of Kanabu in Sierra Leone, which is outside of Kenema. And Mara means grandfather. And
Oh, okay.
the president of Sierra Leone, his name is Maada also. So
It's
why they
called
call
Bio,
him,
Julius Bio, right?
yes, Maada Bio, Julius Maada Bio, but he
Okay.
also called Maada as well.
Mm,
So that's my Mende name. My American name is Lawrence. Yeah.
mm. Okay. So tell us a little bit about your experience. From what I learned, I first came across the story in just like normal African news about a number of African Americans who had received their citizenship for Sierra Leone. So, and you happen to be one of them, right? So tell us,
Yeah.
how did you get your citizenship? Just tell us the entire story. Feel free to start from wherever you want to start, or even what inspired you, whichever way you feel like, just go with the flow.
Okay. Well, all right. So let me start from the beginning. Um, as far as what inspired me to get my citizenship. So um, I've actually before I went to Sierra Leone, that wasn't my first time going to Africa. So my first time traveling to Africa was actually in 2017, and I went to Senegal to see my best friend is actually Senegalese, and I met him here in the States in Atlanta, Georgia, and hanging around him, being around him, kind of got me familiar with the culture, and got me very very curious about traveling to Africa. Made me want to visit, so I can experience it firsthand on the continent. So 2017, that's when I took the trip. Actually, I went with my girlfriend, and we flew through Delta. We went to Dakar, Senegal, and we just like my first time stepping foot on the continent was just like amazing. Just seeing black people everywhere on billboards, being able to smell and just taste the foods, and just it was mind blowing. So we stayed for about a week. We stayed for about a week, and then we got to visit my friend. He didn't come with us, but we got to visit his mother in Dakar, and she didn't over there. They speak the language Wolof and French, so it's kind of harder over there to communicate as far as the language barrier with the English. But we went to her house, and he was able to communicate with her over the phone, and and even though she couldn't speak English and we couldn't really understand her, it was just like the vibe that we felt, like, being around her, and like just the hospitality that, everyone in Senegal had gave us. Like, it's just nothing but like great hospitality. Even over there, I know they call it Teranga. They call it, they're known for Teranga, which means hospitality, I believe, in Wolof. So after that trip, that inspired me. That inspired me to look more into my roots, into my DNA after going to Africa for the first time, and really, really enjoying it. So that made me fast forward to 2019. That's when I took the no, actually no. When I take it, I took it 2020. So January 2020 is when I took my African Ancestry test. So what sold me on African Ancestry was two things. The first thing that sold me on African Ancestry was I watched The Breakfast Club, and the Black Panther, Chadwick Boseman, the late Chadwick Boseman, he did an interview with The Breakfast Club, and he talked about how he took the test, the DNA test, and he was telling them that Charlemagne, I guess, was like, I took ancestry.com, or they were taking these other tests, and then Chadwick Boseman was like, I took African Ancestry. It's a Black-owned company, and they actually tell you what tribe you're from, and they even give you a country that you can connect and link yourself to. So after watching that, I was like, okay, I'm gonna do some more research on it to, just check for myself, so I know like it's a legit company. So um, I went to New York City, to a museum in New York City, and it's actually it's called African Burial Ground Museum in Manhattan, and that's where I saw that there was a scientist, a biologist, Rick Kittles, which was the same guy who started African Ancestry along with co-founder Gina Page. I saw that I believe they both actually worked on the African burial ground site in Manhattan. So with the site, they were able to. So in New York City, they were trying to make a building, but they dug up the ground and they found out that there were remains of Africans from, I want to say, the 1700s. So they saw that, and then they had biologists on site where they were actually able to sample the DNA of those bones of the people that were buried, and they were able to believe trace their DNA to Ghana. So they actually had brought in people from Ghana to help them do a proper burial. But when I saw that, I'm like, okay, well, they were able to, trace the DNA from the remains of the people that were buried in New York City. So, maybe this company has to be, pretty legit. So, I took my chances on it. I took both tests. I took the maternal test and I took the paternal test. So the paternal test, I actually traced my DNA to Portugal. But the reason for that, yeah, it was a big disappointment. But they tell, and before you take the test, they tell you, they're like, your paternal test, you have a larger chance of you tracing it to like your European to a European lineage, because during slavery, like a lot of the women were being raped by white men. So it's harder for you to trace your paternal lineage, because your paternal lineage is gonna for African Americans and people of in the diaspora, is likely that your paternal lineage could be of European descent, because of all the things that were going on with the slave trade, and the men raping the women and doing all kinds of horrible things to the women. So that was a disappointment, but I did both tests. So I was like, I'm really invested in this because I really want to know where I come from. So I did the maternal test, and I actually was able to trace it to 4 different tribes. So I traced the maternal test to the Mandinka of Senegal, the Pele of Liberia, the Mende of Sierra Leone, and the Fula of Guinea-Bissau. How much was the DNA test? The DNA test, it was a lot. It was 300. It was $300 per test.
Wow, that's so expensive. Those are $600.
It's a lot. That was a lot, but
Yeah.
I I had to sacrifice. I had to take the sacrifice. I'm like, sometimes we spend money on other things that are expensive, and I have to know, like, because it's important. It's important to me to know where I'm from and know where I come from and be able to trace my roots. So it was a lot of money, but I was just like, I have to know, like, I have to find out. So yeah, it was 300.
So
Mm-hmm.
after finding out your because you say from Guinea-Bissau, from Ghana, they traced it to different tribes. So what made you go to Sierra Leone?
What made
Mr.
me
Truth, thank you so much for the super chat. It means a lot.
okay?
Appreciate it. Mm.
What made me go to Sierra Leone? Well, I told you I traced it to Senegal, so I already went to Senegal. And I had, before I even knew my DNA was in Senegal, I went to Senegal and I had an amazing time. But honestly, what made me go to Sierra Leone was the citizenship. The citizenship. When I found out, when I started doing my research, I watched different YouTube channels a lot, like, such channels like yours where they highlight, what's going on in Africa and the diaspora and all that. So I was able to watch a few different channels where people had already traced their DNA to Sierra Leone, and they were given citizenship. And I was like, okay, that's interesting, because a lot of African countries aren't doing it that way. Like, they're not doing it through DNA. So I know in Ghana you have to live there for some time, or maybe like 5-10 years, or I'm not sure how long, for you to get citizenship. So
Okay.
Mhm.
So would you tell us more about Sierra Leone's program? Because there could be someone out there who is Sierra Leone and they don't know. Maybe they just need to take a DNA test and trace their, roots back to the country and, just get a citizenship. So would you tell us, after finding out, you can also tell us actually how long did it take you to get the results after doing your test? You told us the price. $300 for the maternal test, $300 for the paternal test. That's $600, which is quite expensive. I think that's a lot of money, but I think it's worth it, definitely. So after getting the results, and then you decide you're aware of this program by Sierra Leone, would you tell us more about the program? If someone wants to maybe try it out, someone made a comment actually that, are you from Carolina? Because most people from Carolina are from Sierra Leone. Let me just show you this comment that someone made. Where is it? Hold on. No, this is not the one. He says, is Maada from the Carolinas?
I'm actually not from the Carolinas, but I know what you're talking about, because it's the Gullah Geechee people that you're saying, like, they're from South Carolina, North Carolina, and Georgia, the coast, the sea islands. But yeah, a lot of people from that region, they trace their DNA to Sierra Leone, like, majority of them, because of the history connecting between Sierra Leone and South Carolina. Sierra Leone, they grow a lot of rice. So that's why they specifically went to Sierra Leone to enslave people that already know how to grow the rice, and they brought them to South Carolina to grow the rice. But no, to answer your question, I'm not from there. I'm from New Jersey, originally.
Okay.
No, my family, my come from
Mhm.
and in Mississippi, but not I'm not from the Carolinas, but I actually live in North Carolina right now. So to answer your question,
Okay.
yeah.
And then he made another comment saying you probably got your Cameroon citizenship via the Portuguese traders. Got his Cameroon DNA via the Portuguese traders.
Yeah, the Cameroon. Okay, that's probably how you Cameroon. Portuguese. Oh yeah, I mean, possibly, because like I said, back then they were doing all kinds of horrible things to our people, especially our women. So that there a lot of us African Americans, we have European ancestry, by force and by exploitation. So that could be possible.
Okay, so would you tell us a bit about the Sierra Leone program of giving out citizenship? If someone wants to try it out, if someone thinks their roots are probably in some West African country and Sierra Leone could be one of them, when is the right time to take the test? How long is it going to take between the time they take the test and get their results? I remember you saying the program is on a yearly basis, so take us through the procedure.
Okay, so I know, as far as taking the African Ancestry Test, when I took my test, I believe I took it in November. I want to say I took it in November, and I got my results back late January. So I want to say it takes about 3 months in order to get your African Ancestry DNA test. So what you do
Those
is,
are
like,
2 months.
what's that?
Those are 2 months, right? From November to January.
But early November, late January. So I want to say
Mhm.
close to 3 months.
Three
So it's
months. Okay.
that's what you do is like, you know, they give you a kit, they send you a kit. No, that doesn't take long to come. It takes like maybe like less than a week. You get that, you know, take the kit, you swab it, and then you send it out, you send that out, and then in 3 months they'll give you your test results. So I actually have it with me. I have it with me to show you guys what it looks like. So this is my African ancestry.
Yeah.
That's what it looks
Okay,
like.
that's great. Yeah, certificate of ancestry. Yeah.
Yeah, certificate of ancestry, and you see it has all four tribes on it and in different countries. And this, you know, outside. So this one.
And you said what's the name of the company again?
The name of the company, African Ancestry.
Oh, okay. Wow. Okay.
It's black. It's a black owned company. You know, so
Okay.
it's always good, even to go black owned anything. You know.
Mm.
And this is the Portuguese results that I don't like to show. So cover this. I'm just covered up. But yeah. So after that process, after I found out my results, I was like, okay, so I need to get connected with people in these countries so I can learn more about, you know, where I come from, because it's
So how did you, what I want you to explain for us is after taking your results, you already was aware of the citizenship program, right? Available in Sierra Leone, right?
yes.
So how did you get to know about it? How often does it happen? If someone wants to apply for it, how should they go about it? Like if you want to give them some sort of advice on how to do it, assume they've finished take their DNA test and maybe the results show that they are part Sierra Leone. What is the next step for them to do?
Okay, so I was saying, so once I found out my results, I'm like, all right, so I have to get connected with people on the continent, because you know you can do all the research and stuff over here. You know, if you don't talk to someone that actually lives there and that's from the tribe, you know, you're not gonna learn as much information. So as far as the test, as the test goes, um, how I got my how I got connected, I joined a group. So there's a group called Mende Descendants, and that's a group I'm currently in. You know, and we have Zoom meetings every week, and we talk about, you know, different things, different projects that we're trying to do in Sierra Leone. So my advice to you is, um, after you take the test, automatically African Ancestry has a Facebook group that you can join, and that group can connect you with other people like yourself that already traced their DNA and found out what tribe they belong to. So once you get in that group, then you can find out what tribes have different groups. So for people that trace their DNA, so you know some people might trace their DNA to the T card people of Cameroon, so they might have a T card group that you can join. And once you get in that group, that's when you can talk to different people and network and be like, have you guys been to Sierra Leone, or have you been to this country already? You know, do you know people? Do you have a connect there? That can take me to, you know, wherever, give me a naming ceremony or allow me to do, you know, what I want to do in the country. So
Okay, that's great. So I remember you, so meaning very many African Americans have formed groups out there to network, right? To
mhm,
network with their fellows, if you
yeah,
all identify to be belonging maybe from a certain country. Okay, I do understand that.
and they also
So,
bring natives in a group too. So somebody, you know, somebody from the country, they'll have in a group too, so they can communicate with that person and learn from that person also. So it's not just, you know, African Americans. It's a mixture of everybody, but it's good to do for networking.
okay. So how did the group get to know the right timing of when you guys maybe should fly out to Sierra Leone, to meet the president or to meet the leader, to know that this is the
Okay.
time when the government is going to be open to give out citizenships? Because
Okay.
remember you said that they do this only once in a year.
Yeah. So how I was able to find out when citizenship was given, I connected with a few different people and native Sierra Leoneans, and one of the guys, he's close with the Monuments and Relics Commission, which gives out citizenship, and I've been communicating with him for some time, regarding the citizenship. After I found my DNA, and he was able to contact me, give me the contact of one of the ladies that actually, works in monuments and relics, and she's kind of in charge of the citizenship process. And I was able to get her, her contact, and then I was able to communicate with her over time. So from January all the way to, matter of fact, I took the test in January and I got my citizenship in January. So from January, every often I would, message her and ask, do you guys know when the citizenship? Because at that time, honestly, everything over there is just like they're still working on the process of citizenship, and also it keeps changing. So even from when I got my citizenship, it actually changed from this year to like a different process. So that's why honestly I can't really give you like the information, because it's gonna change like that for some reason they keep changing it. But the I can tell you the way I was able to get it. I kept communicating with the lady for every so often I would message her, and then she was like, well, I don't know yet when they're gonna give the citizenship, because we're still working on it. We're still trying to figure out how the process is gonna be. At one point, they even told me that they're not gonna, then they might not give citizenship. Um, they wanted to do it in November, or they were gonna do it a date, and then they changed it. So I just kept communicating with her contact, and then I also know that over there there's a group that goes every year. There's a group that started going, and they get citizenship every year. So I'm like, all right, so when this group goes, that's when I should go. But I know that the group they want like $4,000, $5,000 to travel over there as a tour package. And that's honestly my personal opinion. I don't like to travel that way, and I don't like to spend my money to stay in a hotel that way. I'd rather spend it on other ways, because you can still contribute to tourism without staying in those expensive tour packages. So instead of doing the joining the group, I just saw when the group did their tour, and I'm like, all right, well, this group gets citizenship every year. So when they go to Sierra Leone, that's when I'm going to try to go to Sierra Leone, so I can do my solo travel, and I can get citizenship also. And it happened to work. So in December, I saw that
Okay.
December. So December 27th to January 6th or something like that. So that's when I scheduled, my ticket, on my own. I scheduled my ticket on my own, and then I had been communicating with my host family over there, my host brother, and who took good care of me while I was over there. And then I told him, all right, this is a date that I'm going to come. I'm booking my ticket around the time as them. And then I kept in contact with the lady that's in charge of monuments and relics. And then, she gave me when it got so close to the date, that's when she was like, all right, so they're gonna give citizenship on January 5th. So I'm like, all right, perfect. I already have my stuff booked, because I booked it around the time that the tourism company was gonna do it. So it worked out for me. It worked out for me. But now I'm telling you that they're changing the process now and making it more, I want to say, more expensive and difficult for us to travel over there now, because now they're saying that you have to go through one of the tourism companies. So, and the tourism companies, they're charging, like, some of them are charging like $4,000, $5,000. So, but that's, I don't know if you want to get into that, but that's another topic. I don't know if you want to.
Okay. So I do have a few questions for you from what you've told us. One, Did the Sierra Leone government charge you any money for giving you the citizenship? And at what point they ask you for personal details, like to hand in your passport photo, to hand in your names, blah, blah, blah. I would like to know that. And if you say you kept in contact with this lady, is she a government official in Sierra Leone? And then I hope you remember all of them. And then the last question is, if you do you have the knowledge, like has the Sierra Leone government passed a law about this, about giving citizenship to people who trace their DNA back to Sierra Leone? Is there a law that has been passed by the Sierra Leone government, or is it something they just like, is it within the law? Because if you know that there is a law, then it means on a yearly basis someone can be sure that they can, if they trace their, if they got their DNA results and trace them to Sierra Leone, then they could be sure that if the country does this on a yearly basis and it's within the law, then they just have to follow it up, Yeah. So would
Okay.
you
Give me the first.
highlight on those?
Give me the first question, and then give me the other question.
Okay. The first question was, did you get charged any money by the Australian government for getting citizenship?
No.
You
Well,
didn't.
pay for the passport fee was $80, but other than that, other than paying for the passport, I guess we're paying for the paper. We weren't charged. I wasn't charged any money for by the government officials other than paying for the passport. So no. And what's your next question?
Okay. Then the next question is, who is the lady that you are in touch with the entire time? Is she a government official?
Okay.
The one you kept following up with over the year, is she a government official?
Works for Monuments and Relics. Now, I'm not sure if she's a government official or not, but I know so Monuments and Relics, they're in charge of tourism, and they're also in charge of the citizenship. So their office, she works in the offices over there. Now, if she's a government, I don't know if she's a government official or not. But
I think she's not. Okay.
I don't think she is either. I don't think she is.
Okay, so do you also think the Australian government has passed a law about African Americans being given citizenships if they trace their roots back to the country? Do you think they've passed any law on that? Because if there is a law, then it means it's a reliable way of getting citizenship as long as anyone traces their roots back to Sierra Leone.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I know for a fact with Sierra Leone, whatever they do, if they do something, it's official. Like, especially if the president's involved, it has to be some type of law that was passed, or so I mean, honestly, but I don't know 100% sure, so I can't speak on it. But I mean, honestly, I don't know for sure, so I can't tell you. But it could be a law. I mean, I haven't checked their laws, and honestly, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know the answer to that question. I don't know.
Okay. Thank you so much. Yeah, because the other question that I wanted to ask you is
Good question.
because from what I understand about your story, you did your things through you figured your way out as an individual, right? You just like figured everything out by yourself. I mean, which is what someone is supposed to do. You did your research and got in touch with the right person and kept following up over a long period of time. I mean, which is great because that's what you're supposed to do.
Yeah.
But I think I will find out more, because if there is like an official website by the government, or under what ministry does the government, handle such issues. And then if you know if there is a law, or if there is a particular ministry where someone can always go and cross-check their website for updates, for this specific. Yeah, that's what I would like to. Yeah.
But I know, every so often they'll send out information regarding the new rules for citizenship. So like I told you, like they keep changing it. For some reason, they keep changing it. So, now recently I just got some paperwork, saying that now they're doing a background check, and they need you to submit your background check from the United States. And what I was telling you before, you have to go through one of the listed Sierra Leone tourism agencies. So it keeps updating, and honestly, it's becoming more difficult making it more difficult for our people to get the citizenship. But
Okay, so we are going to look at some questions from the viewers. Big K, thank you so much for the super chat. I do appreciate you. So I think this one joined late. Big K joined a little bit late. He wants to know the DNA testing, the company. You could just remind him of the company name.
it's called African Ancestry. I'm giving them a lot of promotion today, so it is African Ancestry.
African Ancestry, that's the name of the company, and you said it's a Black-owned company, right?
It's a Black-owned DNA testing company. One of the few companies that I know, because I know Ancestry.com and 23andMe and those other companies, they're not Black-owned, and they don't give you the specific like results, tribe, like ancestry. So.
Okay. So let me show you more comments that people are saying. Someone said something about that if people, the USA government is trying to be a little bit stringent on people who have crimes and maybe pending bills before they leave the USA. But let me pull up the comments. I'm scrolling through to find it again. Yes, it's here. So someone says the USA, Mr. Truth, the USA getting ready to pass a law to stop people with bad credit to leave the states without sorting out their debts.
Your debts. I mean, I don't know anything about that, but I mean, it could be possible, because in the U.S., there's a system that they put in place here to make it difficult for you to do anything. So, I wouldn't be surprised. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised about that. But I don't know the full details, but it could be possible, because I know they use the credit system. They use that here to destroy you and make your life difficult. That's why you see us over here, everything with a lot of people, everything is used off of credit. A lot of people don't own anything. You just rent, you get a mortgage, but you have a car note, but eventually you're just paying it. So, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised.
And then another interesting comment, he says the government watch all these American YouTubers that relocate to foreign countries, then brag about leaving their bills in the USA. Why would you do that,
Yeah, I mean, the government watches. They watch. I mean, I'm sure they watch things. Especially with us. They always monitor the Black people, and that's why they have the FBI and all those things. They're big on controlling you. So, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if they're watching the YouTubers either. So.
Yeah, but you also made an interesting comment that the government of Sierra Leone, much as it's willing to give out citizenship, they're also very strict on the rules, and they started to ask for a crime record, something like that. So you're saying if someone has a crime record, they won't be given the citizenship.
There's nothing wrong with security. You should always have a tight security, for anything. So, there's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong with that. They're just making sure that, the right people are coming to the country and getting their citizenship. That I don't have a problem with. But as far as, the prices, as far as the tourism agencies paying, $4,000, $5,000, using people's emotions to connect with their homeland and get citizenships as a way to get money. I kind of don't.
So let me ask you something, because you're talking about this tourism agency. it sounds like one which has connections in Sierra Leone, and it just brings together African Americans who are willing to go through it to make the travel process a little bit easier. But what I want to clear or to help the viewers understand is that, is it mandatory to go through the agency for you to be able to get citizenship? Because you didn't, from what I understand.
That is
Or
that.
as long as the priority is having your DNA test results, that is what's the requirement, not going through the agency.
Yes, that is the new process now. When I traveled solo, I stayed with a host family. I stayed in the village with my brother and his family, and I didn't do a tourism agency. But now the process moving forward, they want us to hire a tourism company that is registered under Sierra Leone, tourism. So they want us to hire one of those companies, and we're only able to get citizenship if we're registered, if we're using one of those companies. And
Really?
yeah, and honestly, I don't agree with that because different, we
Is
all
this tourism company owned in Sierra Leone and owned by the government or someone with a hand in the government? Why is it mandatory to use
um
it?
honestly, I can't answer that. I don't know. I don't. There's different companies. Some of them, honest, some of them aren't. Some of them are even like there's even African Americans that travel to Sierra Leone, and they create there. So and some of them are on the list. But I'm saying as far as us, that's the only way we can travel and get our citizenship if we go through them. Spend $4,000 to $5,000 because that's a lot of the prices for them are expensive. And when you're going to Africa, you're making a lot of sacrifices because you have to take time off from your job. It's not easy. It's not easy going over there and spending your time. But a lot of us do that because we really want to connect with our family. So I feel like that's just making it a lot harder for us to go and get citizenship. So if that's the requirements, there might be people that say, I don't want to spend that amount of money. I can go to Sierra Leone and use $4,000, $5,000 to start a business or do a nonprofit or help somebody or help my host family or help a community to do something else with that money. Because I don't want to stay in a luxury hotel or a hotel that's probably owned by a white person, not even black owned, and go to the village, wave at somebody, and then go back around on a tour bus. So this.
So they are trying to make business out of the entire situation. That's what I see.
I mean, I don't know. Things keep changing, so I don't know. But
Okay, so what advice? Mhm.
it is like don't let any of that discourage your desire to go back home and to even trace your roots and to visit the country. Like don't let that. Yeah, they might. Who knows? They could be using it for money, but don't let nothing discourage you to go back home and connect with your your ancestry, your DNA. Like connect with your people over there. Don't let anything discourage you. Even with the citizenship process. Like one of the videos I was watching, you don't. I mean, citizenship is good, but you don't need that to start a business in most countries in Africa, or you don't need that to move to Africa. You don't need to have citizenship. Citizenship is great, a great offer, but don't let it discourage you from traveling to Africa or traveling to the motherland or any African country that you connect to. Let me just say that.
Yeah, so if any of you guys has any questions for Maada, I'll drop them in the chat. I'll share them on the screen. And if any of you guys wants to join the chat, I've dropped for you guys a link in the chat as well. So I do share the same thoughts with you actually on that point. I don't think citizenship should be a limiting factor if you're interested to come in Africa and do business, because yes, much as being a citizen is great, I think what's very important is to connect you with the right people, have the right people with you there on the team that you can work with, find a country that you like with the right weather, do your research on the ways of how to start a business. Like I've done a video on my channel of how foreigners can start a business in Uganda. So getting a citizenship or not getting a citizenship should never be a limiting factor, because we see very many foreigners who are here in Africa. They are thriving, And if you're
Exactly.
coming from the US, you also do have an advantage, because once you convert your money into the local currency, you get a lot more money. And I think the cost of living and many more things are less expensive in comparison. But you also have to remember that you have to be ready to live life differently, because
Yeah.
things move a little bit slower out here and all that. So I
Can
definitely do agree with you on that.
can I add this to what you were saying? You said there's foreigners coming to Africa, and even when I got to meet the president, and then the 22 people, we got to sit down with the first lady and the president, have dinner with them, and then she gave us a speech. She said, they say that we're poor here in Africa, but if we're so poor, why do they keep coming here? If we're that poor, leave us alone. So, Africa is not poor. We have so many resources and so much stuff, to offer our people. That's why you always see Europeans and Chinese and Lebanese and all the other people in Africa. So, we're not poor. We have a lot of stuff to offer, and we have to take advantage of it. You know.
Yeah, that's very correct. Definitely. Everyone is aware that Africa is very rich.
Yeah.
Everyone is depending on Africa to live, and to survive and all that. So, yeah, because we have all the resources, we have, each and everything that we need. So, Africa has never been poor, it's rich. They just told us a lie that we are poor and we believed it. And that has, gone on over the years. But Africa is very rich. Africa has never been poor.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go through some comments. I want to see what you guys are sharing in the chat. I'll just read through the comments. A business XP says business is the US. In the US, use people's emotions all the time to get them buy things. We literally just had a Valentine's Day. Yeah, of course, when you play on people's emotions, that's when you get an action out of them. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah. And then Mr. Truth says, I think he is when we're talking about use of the credit system in the US. If people use credit the right way, it can be a good thing. So it might not be entirely negative. That's his opinion on the credit system.
I know in Africa, if they don't really use the credit system, right?
No,
So you
I
buy
actually,
everything
mhm.
cash. If you buy a house, if you don't have the money to, if you start building a house, you don't have the money to finish the house, then the house is going to be unfinished. You're not going to take out a loan or a mortgage or anything that they can eventually you know take back from you. So cash is king over there. But I like that process better than over here.
So, I used never to understand what the credit system means actually, because when you say you can go out to shop with money that you've never put in a bank, with money that you've not yet worked for, it's kind of strange to me. I would
You
be
say
tempted to think that you guys are so spoiled, because
you
why
don't
would that be an option? Here, if you don't have any money, you're going to die. Like everything, you just pay with it with cash. You buy your house with cash, you buy a car with cash. I
you
mean,
know
it's
the credit score. You get a credit score over here. You heard that?
yeah, I've heard of that, yes.
Uh,
And it
yes.
determines if you're going to be able to get a lot more credit or not going to get credit if you default and things like that. Yeah.
Buy a house, or if you can get a car, or if you can even get a phone, or apartment. If you can rent an apartment, it determines everything. Basically, it's like one of the most valuable. You have bad credit, you're gonna have a hard life to live, you know. But it's this system in America.
So now that you have your Sierra Leone citizenship, if we go back to the topic, do you intend to start business there? Because are you currently in the Sierra Leone or the US? What have you learned about the country so far? Would you like to relocate and go there? How best do you intend to utilize this opportunity?
Mm. Um, I'm currently in the U.S. I'm still in the U.S., but Absolutely. I would love to start a business over there. You know, that's like one of my dreams to business in an African country, to be able to make money, employ people over there. What's up, bro? See somebody on there.
Hey, how you doing, man?
Hello, Mr. True. Thank you so much
How you
for
doing?
joining the chat.
How's it going?
Oh,
How's
no
it?
problem. How you doing, Ms. Ray?
Yeah. Yeah, but what was I saying? Yeah. I would love to start a business over there. Actually, I'm currently like looking into agriculture because I know in Africa in a lot of the countries, you know, we import a lot of food from other countries like, you know, China and US and it doesn't make any sense because we have the land over there. We have the fertile land to grow whatever we want, you know, on the continent, but a lot of places they import stuff like rice and, you know, things that you can easily grow. For some reason, they rather have it, you know, from a foreign country than have it from their own country. So, you know, currently I'm like looking into agriculture and thinking about starting a, you know, a business doing, you know, growing cocoa or oil palm or you know just anything that you know we can cultivate and use over there. So definitely, man, I want to start a business there. Definitely, you know, I'm working on it slowly. You know, trying to learn different things from people over there, and you know, connect with the right people where you know I can be able to you know make that business successful. So
Okay, that's great. Yeah, definitely business opportunities. Yeah,
yeah,
definitely. I agree
yeah.
with you. Yeah.
Oh, you want to know like business opportunities over there? Because there's transportation too, and like Sierra Leone specifically, like they need transportation. So when I travel there, I try to do things local so I can get a feel for you know work over there and as far as business as well. And you know, getting into the transportation industry is good too, because you know a lot of times in Freetown in the city they have a shortage of vehicles. Like they use the KK, they use the pota pota, which is the van where they
Motorcycle, we have it in Uganda as well.
yeah, the van they pack everybody in, but a lot of times those vans and those KKs and everything will be full. They even have a bus that'll be packed full, and then there'll be people walking around that need transportation that can't get transportation. So transportation is another good industry that you can get into, and also doing like a water plant. You know, those are just a few things I can give you.
Okay, that's great. Thank you for sharing with us. Yeah, business ideas are definitely.
Yeah.
Mr. Truth, welcome to the stream.
Yeah, how you doing?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm good. I can't complain. I can't complain.
Thank you so much for joining us, and thank you so much for always being supportive to the channel. We do appreciate you.
Oh, no problem. I just want to kind of chip in a little bit about what the guy's talking about. I mean, it's a good
Mm-hmm.
thing that what Sierra Leone had going on about the citizenship, you know, from being in the diaspora and everything. But I guess my main thing have been that a lot of people that actually going to continent, I guess as far like trying to start building everything. I mean, Africa really need infrastructure. I know a lot of probably don't want to actually start like manufacturing, but that's what Africa really right now. I mean, everybody talking about going better off doing like a lot of other races of people doing like money when they actually starting something to actually bring their money. It just seems like everybody want to do their own thing, so it's just making the process longer. I was in the military and I was stationed for like last 25 years, going back and forth to West Africa, some parts of East Africa. And one thing I noticed, no matter what country I go to, it just seemed like Africa got all the raw material and everything else, but for some reason, Africa's not allowed to manufacture their own raw products and material. They have to send it to the West, and then they
Yeah.
buy it back to go back to the continent. So I mean, if Africa could get to the point where they could be self-sufficient, I mean, it'll be a whole lot better. But one thing about the West, they're not going to really allow, especially the diaspora, to take a lot of money from the West, to take it back to Africa, talk about to build something that's sustainable. I mean, yeah, they'll let you take a little money, but when you start talking about millions and billions of dollars trying to take to the continent to build the continent up, it won't happen. At least not right now. I mean, we got to find a different way to do things. So, that's just my comment, my opinion about stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, I do agree with you that actually most African countries, instead of us being innovative, and manufacturing, because I mean, a country can only grow through innovation, I do believe, once you manufacture. I think China is the hugest economy because they do manufacture almost everything. Yeah, so that's a problem with Africa. I don't know if you can tell us why it is a problem, why we are very dependent, because African economies are, we depend on China, like most, even an economy like Uganda, we just depend on China. Almost everything if I go to the Ugandan market, Uganda shops, if I walk into Kampala town, everything is Chinese. It all comes from China. They do get the raw material, just like you've said, get it from here, from us, go take it, and then you go and buy it again, yet they got it from here. So I believe that's a hugest problem that we do have. If we can learn how to be more independent, and maybe be a lot more innovative and creative, then maybe, I don't know if that plays into our education system as well, the way we teach the kids. Because if you told them to be more creative and taught them these skills to think independently, other than making them think that if they finish studying, they have to leave their country and go to the Western world, because I've painted the Western world to be like this perfect world where you're supposed to go to. The education here doesn't teach you that your country is beautiful or good enough, So those are just my thoughts. I'm just trying to weigh in on my thoughts. Though Andre thinks that Nigeria is doing a great job, I do agree with him. I don't know what you guys have to think, have to add on that.
As far as Nigeria doing a great job, I know they have the largest population, so their economy is pretty good. So
Well, as for me, I think that Nigeria doing good, but at the same time, the bigger problem with the African continent, from what I have seen over the years, and I don't mean to be funny about this, but that tribalism. Tribalism has slowed Africa down on so many different levels because, to be honest, well, the type of work I do nowadays, they call it a security contractor, but probably like 10 to 15 years ago, it was called being a mercenary. And basically what we do, we go like to different countries, working for different government, United States military. And one thing I have noticed, a lot of time when we went to these different countries and everything, the people that we always met up with was always like politicians but the tribal chief and everything. And at the same time, they get a lot of money for the different projects and stuff that come to the area. But guess what? That money don't get passed down to the people. It always stay with the politician and the chief and to their family. And at the same time, a lot of them send their kids to the West, to America, to Europe, for their education. So, I mean, as long as you got tribalism going on and people fighting amongst each other, you can't really see who's doing all the stealing. I mean, everybody got their hands in the cookie, but not everybody, but most definitely the chiefs and the politicians, they have the money in the cookie jar all the time. So from what I have seen the last 15, 20 years, that's the problem I see with the continent.
I do agree with you, Mr. Truth. And when you talk about tribalism, you've brought in another point of leadership. African leaders have failed Africa the most. I do know that some leaders who are currently doing great, like the president of Rwanda. There's some leaders who are truly Pan-African, that are trying to do things in a different manner. If you look at Magufuli, what Magufuli is doing with Tanzania, I think the Ghanaian president as well is doing great. The Rwanda president is doing great as well, though he's a dictator. But I do agree with you that most African leaders have failed their people. They think of themselves, they think of themselves and their families and what they're going to put in their pockets, rather than thinking about elevating everyone, rather than thinking about, let's put the drugs in the hospitals, let's construct this road. It serves, 10 million people in this region. One individual is going to get that contract and make that 1 billion shillings or that $2 million to disappear. So just like Truth has said, that is the greatest problem that has failed Africa. But as the future advances, if we get more leaders who are willing to be truly Pan-African, yes, we do know they do send their kids to these fancy schools, and that's a problem, They think the West is better, and that's why it comes back to the education system. Personally, I think our education has a big role to play. What you teach a child when they are 5 years old, 10 years old, 14 years old, they will never forget those things, and these things shape their thinking and shape their lives. So most African education paints the picture that the West is better. So when a child is growing up, they'll think they have to go to the Western universities or universities in America because they give the best education. That's what the child is going to think. In Uganda, all the youths are running away to Asian countries, to Dubai, to Saudi Arabia, to Oman, to Qatar, to Kuwait, to look for jobs because they think that those countries are better and those countries have jobs. Whereas those same people are coming to Uganda to make money here in Uganda. So education has a very important role to play, I believe, if we want to make a change. This is a change that this change can't happen in like 5 years, Us who are here today, we have to think of the next generation to come. What can we do for them to be able to think of things differently? So you talked about a very important point, and yes, the leaders have failed us, at least for the most part. They have.
There's a new leader that's that has different views. The older guys, like they don't want to get out of office. They just want to stay there for a long time. I know even in Senegal, I know there's a leader that the youth they like him a lot. His name is Ousmane Sonko, and he's been accused by Macky Sall of doing certain things to where he wants to lock him up and throw him in jail, all because he knows he has a big following and he knows his views are different from the puppet leader type that that wants to do everything that the French tells them to do. So when those leaders feel threatened and they see that they have somebody younger that's coming up and that has different ideas for the country and wants to take the country away from under the European rule and loving Europe, that's when they try to throw things at them and accuse them of doing certain things and lock them up in jail. Even with I know in your country in Uganda, with Bobby Wine situation, all those things, they try to prevent the youth and younger leaders that have a different idea to get up and lead the country. So but I agree. Like we have to start with the youth, like with the younger people, and teach them the proper values of leadership. So they don't grow up to be that corrupt leader or that corrupt president. You have to start them off right, and teach them honesty and how they should rule the country. If they were to rule, you can't start them off with bad values, because then they're gonna end up like a lot of the leaders that don't have good values.
Yeah, I do agree with you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I don't know if you guys have anything else to add. Yeah, but African leaders, I mean, they've they've really failed us for the most part. They've really failed us, yeah. And we can only do better if the education changes, because it all starts with the mind. If we tell African people to love Africa instead of fantasizing about Europe and America, if we ask them to love Africa, to know what value Africa has, to love their own countries, to work towards their own countries. And even when it comes to leadership, I don't think you have to be in a political situation to be a leader. I think anyone can be a leader as long as you're willing to speak up and have a voice and be exemplary, you can be a leader. And I'll talk a little bit about the situation in Uganda. You brought it up. Yes, Uganda just has very many issues, yes, but we do have a young leader, Bobi Wine, who was trying to be president. But we have a situation where the current leader has been in the government for a very long time, over 35 years now. So he has created a system that favors him. So much as you want to fight him, it is an entire system that you're fighting. So an individual, a group of youths, it is difficult to fight a system that is already in place, you know, until either the leader of the system is away or the system itself collapses. So but it's also very sensitive to talk about politics in Uganda, but I can't talk about it that much. But the problem with Bobi Wine as well, this is just a personal opinion. He also tends to call upon the Westerners or the Bazungu to come into things. My idea is, I don't think Africans need whites to come and solve our problems at home. They can only stir them up and try to make them worse, you know, and make you fight against each other the more. So if these things are going to be resolved, they should be resolved at home, you know, within our own, you know, institutions and laws and all that, not inviting over European Union or the USA government to try and talk to you or do certain things. So those are just my thoughts. But I would like to to read a comment. So Big K, thank you so much for the super chat, Big K. I do appreciate you. Thanks for the support. Big K says, don't relocate to Africa broke if you don't have at least $100,000. Stay in America and get your finances in order. Big K, I disagree with you. You can start small. What do you guys have to say?
Go ahead, man.
What do you have to say?
I agree. I mean, I agree. Like, honestly, that's reasons why I don't want to just jump off and go to the continent without starting a business. Honestly, I want to start a successful business over there first, which is possible. Like, you can do it from abroad because you know the money over here goes a long way. You know, the money compared to the money over there. So it's easier to use the money here and try to start something up before you relocate. But me personally, I would like to have a business, a successful business going over there before I relocate. But he said $1,000. He said don't move there with
$100,000.
Say you need
$100,000.
If you don't have at least 100,000. Okay. Yeah, $100,000 would be good. Yeah, good to start over there. Yeah. But me personally, I don't want to just jump over there without having a plan and having a business, having some income over there to to start off. So, but yeah, you can go, bro.
Yeah, I agree. You have to have money because I know like a lot of people that actually relocate to the continent, either trying to be YouTubers or start a travel business or compete with the locals. I feel like trying to start a pig farm or a chicken farm. I mean, shit, you can do that excuse me, but you can do that in the States.
Yeah.
Why don't you go all the way to Africa to do something that, you could make more money in the States? And that's just it. People romanticize going to Africa, but at the same time, once that honeymoon over and then real life sits in, well, you got to pay bills and, you need money coming in. I guess you don't realize that, I'm not sure, but I don't think there's welfare in Africa. See, over in the States, people used to get welfare and, all these stimulus checks, but when they go to Africa, the only thing they get anywhere near welfare is begging for donations. I get so tired of seeing so many different YouTube when they get in trouble, they get on here and start begging and subscribing for donation. I mean, dang. I mean, you can't make it in the States. You might well forget trying to go to the continent thinking that you're going to make a come up. I mean, you ain't got to do just look at a lot of these YouTuber videos, well, the diaspora videos, and you can see all of them, not all of them, but a lot of them go through the same thing. I mean, that's crazy. I mean, why leave America? If you're struggling in America, you most definitely going to struggle outside of America. So that's just how I feel about
it.
Okay, I thank you so much for your thoughts. Let me read a comment from the Mandika family. I thank you so much for the super chat. Thank you for the support. I appreciate you. They say peace and blessings, #One Africa. We are all Africa, no matter where we are born. Africa is in us. Yes, I do agree. As long as we have melanin, as long as you have melanated skin, then we are all African. Yeah, that's very true. I do agree. My thoughts on this thing of having $100,000. So here is the thing. let me try to be as realistic as I can in my way of thinking. What you have to know is if you come to start a small business in Africa, our incomes are very small, so it will be way smaller than what you're used to getting, what you're used to earning. Because I would say a normal job in Uganda, if you're very lucky, was going to pay you like $400 a month, a monthly fee of $400. But bear in mind that our expenses are also very small. They're also like our rent, you could pay rent of about maybe $100 a month. Even 100 is a lot. You could even pay about $80 a month for rent. If you're a single person and you're staying alone, you could spend like $2 every day on meals, or maybe $5. So yes, the expenses are very small, but the incomes are also very tiny. So if you start a small business, it's going to bring in small money. When you convert it to your US dollars, it's way less than you used to earn, you know? So it would be great that someone starts like a huge investment, maybe, which is going to generate you more money, especially if you're coming to Africa to do business, because you're already used to making, I don't know, maybe $50,000 a year, or 70,000 or 100,000, whatever you're making per year in the US. So if you come to Africa, where a regular job pays you about $4,000 a year, or $5,000 a year, because that's a normal income for someone like in Uganda, you know, that even Ugandans who don't make that money. So you see that it's a very big challenge for someone who is coming to the US. Even if your living expenses are very small, it wouldn't make business sense. So it would only make business sense if you've thought it out and planned it out, and you're making a huge investment where you're going to be able to make a sensible amount of money. So when he says have $100,000, I can try to explain it in that manner. Yeah. I thank you, Truth, for the super chat. I do appreciate you. So let me see if there are any more comments to talk about. If you guys don't have any more questions. So let me ask you, Maada, what final words would you have for someone who is trying to get their citizenship, or anything? Continent, you've just said you're trying to learn, you know, and start a business. You're also very young. I do assume you look really young. So what are your final thoughts, maybe?
For someone trying to get their citizenship, I mean, I feel like right now we're kind of in the early stages of, you know, people going back to Africa and getting citizenship. So, you know, it might not be a big thing now. It might be, the process might be more difficult, but I feel like as the leaders start to change to more, you know, Pan-African leaders, and the older people start to get out, like they might, you know, it might be easier for us to, you know, get the diaspora to get citizenship, because, you know, the leaders of the country might be, you know, more welcoming. And, you know, maybe 10, 15, 20 years from now, you know, hopefully most African Americans, you know, we'll have an African passport, or, you know, more of us will go back and forth and, you know, do business and do trade with Africans. But, you know, like I said before, you know, don't let the passport discourage you from going to Africa and, you know, tracing your roots and, you know, finding out where you come from and your identity, you know, because, you know, it's a piece of paper, you know, created with before, you know, Africa didn't even have any borders. But, you know, I understand like the significance of it. It makes it easier for us over here to get over there, because, you know, you have to pay visa fees. You know, visa fees. I know when I went to Ghana before I had my passport, I think I paid like $160 to get over there, and I ended up going to the embassy. And people in the embassy was rude, and the process was hard, and, you know, it was just a headache. You know, so I understand. I mean, I understand like that. You know, people, how you would want a passport, but, you know, still at the same time, you know, don't let that stop you from, you know, from going over there. And, you know, it's all up to you, like what you know, if you want to get a naming ceremony, you know, different people travel different ways and go to Africa for, you know, different, you know, reason, like they connect in different ways. So, you know, I had a naming ceremony, and, you know, connected with my brothers and sisters, and stayed in a local, you know, live with and did local way. But, you know, it's all up to you. You know, if you want to go over there, start a business, you know, the opportunities are there. Like there's plenty of opportunities there. But my advice is to visit first. You know, don't just go over there and just, you know, try to move over there on your first trip. You know, do your research. You know, there's plenty of information out there. Like this channel, you know, your channel. Plenty of YouTube channels that I watch them all the time, you know, just to get different, you know, ideas and perspectives from different people. So make sure you do your research, you do your homework, you know what you're getting into before you go over there. You know, like the guy said, make sure you have enough money, just plan, like you have to plan everything well. And you have to network and communicate with people that's on the ground, that's over there. So you know how things operate. You take your first trip, after communicating with somebody that's local, you get you have a trust in them, you hang out with them and you see how things go, maybe stay a week, 2 weeks, go back home, and then, keep planning, keep saving. So, just make sure you go over there prepared. You don't want to go there and then stay for a few weeks and then you got your money run out, you ain't got a job, or you gotta hike back to America, and that can be depressing. So just but like I said, the opportunities are there. It's open, and Africans over there are welcoming. Like, don't believe the old stereotypes where they don't want you over there, and they don't like African Americans, this and that. Don't believe none of that stuff. Like, I mean, I've been 3 times, so, and each time I went, I felt welcome. I felt the hospitality. I felt the vibes and the energy. So, just go off of that. Just go off of that, and plan well. That's all I gotta say.
Yeah, I do agree with you. No one should lie to you that Africans are not welcoming or they don't want you, or nah. If we can welcome Chinese and Indians, how about our fellow brothers and sisters? So that's a pure lie, yes. So just come and, yeah, a visit, just come and visit, for a week or two. Get your visa. I believe if you're Americans, you can just buy your visa at the airport on entry, get your yellow fever card, and that's really about it. It's not that difficult. Mr. Truth, California paid for that was okay. What are your final thoughts, Mr. Truth? I think we're about to end the live chat, so in case you guys have any comments or questions, just drop them, and then we can end the live chat in like about 10 minutes.
Well, I agree with what the gentleman said, and that we need to go and make sure that we have enough money to go first of all, and to visit first instead of just trying to go over there on a prayer on a dream, and also build a relationship before we go. Build be in a relationship, personal relationships, and I think it'll make the transition more easy than just trying to just go and think that everything gonna work itself out, because, like I said, 9 times out of 10 it won't. I worked at 4 different embassies on the continent. And I can actually tell you, you'll be surprised how many people, come to go to these different countries and realize that, the things that they had in the West, they couldn't get it over in, Africa. Not saying that Africa was bad, but, just not planning correctly. So they end up at the embassy, and they have to get tickets to go back to the West or wherever. So, just plan your move before you go instead of just jumping out there on a whim. And that's it.
Yes, I do agree with you. I thank you so much for your contribution. Yeah, you're very right. It's good to get the finances together, because if you have the finances, you can feel secure, you can feel very comfortable and very confident. You don't have to worry about, nothing. So I definitely do agree with you. So, Maada, tell people where to find you. I know you like starting your YouTube channel, you're in your beginner stages, but you're more active on your Instagram.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about what you share on your Instagram, your handle as well. I just display it on your screen. If people want to connect with you, you know how to get to connect with you.
All right. So on Instagram, my Instagram name is It's L Grant. It's underscore L Grant. So ITS underscore LGRANT. And usually on Instagram, I'm like you said, I'm more active on Instagram than I am on any other platform. But on Instagram, I do post a lot of Black history things. Like so, I like to travel to historical sites within the U.S. and kind of document them, take pictures of them, and I'll post it on my page. So for instance, so I live in North Carolina. So for instance, like something that you would probably see on my page, like Duke University, it was designed by a Black architect. So I might do something like travel to the university, take a picture of a plaque or something of his name, and, just to let people know, like, because a lot of the history over here, it's not taught in the schools. So, we really don't know about it. So, I try to document as much stuff as possible and share it with people. And in my YouTube channel, I'm just starting out, but I try to do the same thing. When I went to Sierra Leone, I did a few videos. I have a few videos up with the First Lady speaking, welcoming us home. So if you're interested in seeing that, you can go to my channel, and the channel is
yeah, I will link his channel in the description in case anyone watches this later. But you can tell me your channel name. I don't remember its name. What is its name?
Maada M. So my name Maada and M. So if you're interested in checking that out, any other
Maada M, that's all.
yes, just Maada M. Yeah, any other videos in Sierra Leone, I try to do a few videos promoting people in Sierra Leone and the history. So yeah, check it out.
Okay, that's great. Thank you so much, guys, for joining me. Thank you so much, Mr. Truth, for joining. Thank you so much, Maada. I don't know if you guys have any more questions or comments. If not, I'll just end the stream here, and I wish you guys a good evening. Should be still evening, your side. Maybe about, I don't know, 6:30, 7:30 p.m., about that. Yeah, so I really do appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. And yeah, that's it, right?
Yeah.
Y'all have a good evening. Take care.
Okay, bye.
Okay. All right. All right.